How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to an episode here on Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, or Unknown Coder, your favorite underqualified senior software engineer. And as always, if you guys do want access to a private repository, there's a link in the description down below that'll walk you through exactly how to gain access to that. I also want to go ahead and mention, if I start seeming a little bit more tired whenever I start recording, it's because I'm trying to get used to a new routine. I'm trying to wake up a little bit earlier, get this recorded earlier, that way I can go and work out and stuff like that. So I'm switching up my daily routine a little bit. So whenever I'm recording these, I might be a little bit more tired in the first week or two of recording these, but fingers crossed I should start getting more awake as I get more used to the schedule. Now, with that being said, let's go and hop into what we're working on today. Today we're finally going to go ahead and set it up so that we can go ahead and zoom in on this guy, and we can still go ahead and move around. And then whenever we click apply, we're going to go ahead and basically take a snapshot of what this blue box looks like and then send that to the backend or do whatever we want with it. Specifically for us at this point, we're going to go and send it to the backend. So we need to go ahead and set the zoom functionality and saving the image functionality. We're going to have to log into these because these are going to be the two most difficult things to set up and get proper. If you don't set up everything properly, you're not going to get the image that you want to see. So with that being said, let's go and hop into the code, get to work here, and finally have images being sent to the backend that have been cropped. Today we're going to be working inside of our image editor. I'm going to go ahead and come above where we have our calculate scale, and what we're going to go ahead and do is we need to go ahead and set up a new function, and this is going to go ahead and be called resize, like so. And this is going to do what you think it is. It's going to go ahead and let us resize the image. We're going to go ahead and let margin X equal to 0 and let margin Y equal to 0. Again, I kind of set this up and created the state for the margin later on. It's scoped enough that it should be fine. We're going to go ahead and set up a const scalar is equal to 1, and then this is going to be plus, and we're going to say zoom level divided by 100. So basically we're going to be able to scale up to like 300%, or basically 3 times. Twitter does things a little bit differently. I don't know exactly how they scale the images, because some of the images you could really scale in a long ways. We're just going to do it 3 times to make things a little bit easier. We're going to go ahead and calculate the new width of the image. So we're going to say width is equal to our scaled width, and then times our scalar. We're going to say const height is going to be scaled height times the scalar. So you're going to go ahead and calculate how big this is going to be now. We need to go ahead and recalculate our max margin. So maxed margin X is going to be equal to, and this is going to be our new width minus our preview width. There we go. Maybe divided by 2. Same thing. Let max margin Y is equal to, this one's going to be height minus our preview height divided by 2. So how much can we move it around now? And let's go ahead and say set max X margin, and here it's going to be max margin X, and we're going to set max maybe Y margin of max margin Y. Now we get to do the fun stuff. So we're going to go ahead and check for image ref. So if image ref and image ref dot current. So we have an image ref and we have everything. We're going to say image ref dot current dot width is equal to width, and we're going to say image ref dot current dot height is equal to height. So we're going to go ahead and resize that based on our calculations above. We're going to go ahead and create some new margins. So margin X is equal to plus image ref dot current dot style dot margin left. And then we're going to go ahead and dot split this because it's a string and we want to get rid of the pixels and 0. We're going to say margin Y is equal to, and then plus image ref dot current dot style dot margin top, like a type, top dot split. Go ahead and put the P in there, excuse me, hiccup, and then 0. So now we have our margin X and Y, and I don't know why scaled width is mad. Did I spell scaled width wrong all the way back like 3 episodes ago? Let me double check this really quick. So scaled, yes I did, so that's cool. Scaled width And where is this going to be broken at as well? Let's double check all the other scaled widths. I guess that's the only place that we set it is inside calculate dimensions maybe. Oh, it's because scaled width, I was using the set scaled width. Okay, so let's come back down here and fix this up. Now, what we're looking at now is whenever we resize it, it's going to move things around. So we don't want to like go off the screen. And this is especially a problem whenever you zoom in. You might have some space above that you need to kind of readjust things a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and check if our margin X is greater than or equal to our max margin X. And if that's the case, we're going to say image ref dot current dot and here style dot margin left is going to be equal to backtick $sign curly brace. We're going to go ahead and set max margin X px. We're also going to go ahead and set margin X is going to be max margin X. And then we need to go ahead and say if our margin, not margin, image margin X is less than or equal to negative max margin X. We need to do the opposite. So image ref dot current dot style dot margin left is equal to backtick $sign curly brace. And this is going to be negative. How do we do this? Outside here, negative max margin X px, and then we need to do if our margin Y is greater than or equal to max margin Y. If that's the case, we also need to go ahead and make sure we set the margin X here. So set margin X, and that's going to be negative max margin X. Okay, and then in here we'll say image ref dot current dot style margin top is equal to, and this is going to be $sign curly brace and max margin Y px. Let's make sure we do our backticks here. And then we'll go ahead and set margin Y is equal to max margin Y. And then finally, if our margin Y is less than or equal to max margin Y, we'll say image ref dot current dot style, maybe if I could type, that'd be cool, dot margin top is equal to backticks minus $sign curly brace max margin Y px. And we'll go ahead and say set margin Y is going to be equal to negative max margin Y. So that's going to go ahead and set up all that. And then the final thing we need to do outside of all of this is we need to go ahead and recalculate our scale. So here we'll have our native height, which we should actually have set by now. We'll have our native width, which should be set. We'll have our new height, maybe we'll have our new width. So that guy wasn't that bad. Now the fun part's going to be calculating the coordinates to display our new image. So this is a part that took me the longest to actually get working, and I have some notes in here as well. So I'll go ahead and say function and calculate and coordinates like so. Let's go ahead and do this. And here, let's go ahead and first we need to get how much we have scaled the image. So here we're going to say const, please don't do that, const zoom is going to be equal to 1 plus, and then zoom level divided by 100. I could have set this in a state, but it is what it is. Then we need to go ahead and find the center of the preview box relative to the scaled image. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do next. So here we're going to say const center X is equal to scaled width, and then times our zoom. And then we're going to go ahead and say minus our preview width, and then divide that by 2. We're also going to say const center Y is equal to scaled height times our zoom again, times zoom minus our preview, if I could type, height divided by 2. So we're going to find the center. Then we're going to go ahead and get the starting X, Y chords based on the center of the preview and how far we have moved. So if we haven't moved away from the center, it'll always be still in the center. If we have, we need to kind of figure that out. We're going to say const scaled starting x is going to be equal to, and this is going to be scaled width once again. Actually, no, I'm wrong. I'm looking at the wrong line. So it's going to be math.floor of, and then here we're going to have center x minus our margin x, and then divided by the scale. And when you do the same thing, const scaled starting y is equal to math.floor, and here we're going to have center y, so where the center is, minus margin y, how far we moved it up and down, divided by the scale. And then now we can calculate the final width and height to render after scaling. And this is what actually really took me the longest to figure out. So let final width equal to math.floor. It was all about trying to figure out what the actual formula is for this to actually work. So I found out we wanted to go ahead and do native width minus, and then we're going to go ahead and do center x divided by the scale. And then we're going to go ahead and times this by 2. And then we're going to say let final height equal to math.floor. And then here we're going to have the native height minus, and then we're going to say center y divided by scale once again times 2. So that's going to go ahead and do that. And now I need to go ahead and dispatch this. So we're going to go ahead and dispatch, and in here we're going to go ahead and dispatch update image coordinates. In here we're going to have a object, our starting if I could type, starting x is going to be scaled starting x. Our starting y is going to be scaled starting y, and then our final width, maybe final width, and our final height. And I guess I didn't bring in dispatch. I thought I had, but maybe that was a different component and I'm going crazy. Maybe I brought in the state, but not the dispatch yet. Okay, so yeah, we do need to go ahead and bring in const dispatch. There's an app dispatch equal to use dispatch. Whoops. Okay, so now that is brought in, we are good to go there. And now we need to go ahead and set up a use effect to watch when different things change. So we can go ahead and throw this, call these two functions. So let's go ahead and set up our use effect. So use effect, and then this is going to go ahead and watch for. If I could do this properly, so go ahead and watch for a few things. So we're going to watch for the zoom level to change. We're going to watch for our scaled height to change. Maybe. We're going to watch for our scaled width to change, our margin X to change, and our margin Y. So basically, anytime we resize or move this, we're going to go ahead and watch. So scaled height, we're going to check for if we have our scaled height calculated, if we have our scaled width calculated, if we have our scale calculated, if we have our native width calculated, native width, and if we have our native height calculated, because if one of these isn't set up, you're going to get not a number and it's going to break everything. We'll go ahead and call resize, which shouldn't do anything because zoom level will be 1. It'll be the same. And then calculate coordinates as well. And again, here, as long as everything is set, we should have all the necessary pieces of state that we need, and then we can go ahead and calculate everything. The important thing here is that we check to make sure all of these are set. Otherwise, you can get odd numbers. It's going to break everything. So that is the logic for calculating how big our image is and where all the points are to render it, and also how to scale it. Now, we should, in theory, be able to hop into the front end and at least see it zooming in and out, moving around. We won't be able to save it yet. So let's go ahead and take a look at us being able to move it around and stuff, and then we'll kind of move on from there. So it's zoomed in because we had zoomed it in. So now you can see it's zooming in. We can move it around, except I calculated something wrong. So it looks like our bottom margin I might have screwed up, so we can't move it, as you can see, and it should be zooming in from the center. So it looks like, let me go ahead and double check our margin bottom on one of these. We screwed that up, and then let's go ahead and fix that. So it's probably going to be maybe in our resize here. Let me double check all these, and it could be inside of our move, I guess, as well. I can double check that. This should probably be negative. Let's go ahead and do that and save, and let's try again. Let's refresh it. I'm going to go and blur my screen while I grab an image. Okay, now if we zoom in, it goes from the center and you can move it all around. There we go. So we got to make sure we actually write our code right, but that looks good. And let's go ahead and set it up so whenever we click apply, it's actually going to go ahead and take like a snapshot of what's inside of this blue box and then go ahead and save it to the backend. Let's hop back in the code and get that working. To do this, we need to go ahead and hop into our edit media modal top. And here, now we can go ahead and basically set up this apply click function. Before we actually do that, we're going to go ahead and set up a new function called generate image. So function and generate edited image. And this part was also the part that was the most difficult. It's easy to move it around with the margin stuff. It was difficult to get all of the scales and stuff right. So we're going to go and say let image, and this is going to be an HTML image element is equal to, and we're going to go ahead and document.create element. We're going to go ahead and create an image element, and this is going to go ahead and load in the image that we just created. So image.src is going to be equal to the image from our state. So we need to go ahead and bring in image up here. So there we go. So now we're going to go and set that to there. I don't know why it's mad. We might need to, okay, just need a second. Image.height is going to be equal to our target height, which again, we need to bring in. And image.width is going to be equal to target width, which we're going to need to bring in. So let's go ahead and bring those in as well. Now we have our image, we have our target height and our target width. There we go. And give it a second to get unmanned. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and create a canvas. So let canvas equal to, and this is going to be an HTML canvas element. And then we're going to do the same thing, document.create element. And we're going to go ahead and create a canvas. And we're going to basically draw our image that's been scaled onto this canvas and kind of work from there. So now we're going to have our canvas, whoops, maybe canvas.height is going to equal to our target height. We're going to go ahead and match that. And our canvas.width is going to be equal to our target width. There we have it. And now we're going to go ahead and wait for the image to load. So image.onLoad. We're going to go ahead and set up a function. Function e. I don't know if we need the event in there, but it is what it is. We're going to say let context equal to canvas.getContext. And this is going to be the 2D context. Then we're going to go ahead and say if we have our context. This is thanks to TypeScript. We have to do all these if statements. But if we have a context, we're going to go ahead and get the image drawn. So we're going to say context.draw image. And here it's important to do these properly. So we're going to have the image. We're going to have the coordinates. We need to bring in coordinates. Starting x. Let's go and bring in coordinates before we get too far. I didn't bring the stuff in to start because we didn't need it, but now we do and I forgot about it. So we need our starting x. We need our coordinates. Starting y. So this is going to be the top left coordinate of our start. We're going to have coordinates dot final width. How far do we want to render this? And coordinates dot final height. So how tall do we want it? And then inside here, I just go and clean this up a little bit so it's a little bit easier to read. 0, 0. So we want to start this on our canvas at 0, 0. We want to go ahead and render it our target width. We want to go ahead and render it our target height. So basically this is the image, the start point of our image, the endpoints of our image, and then how far we want it drawn on the canvas. So we want to start it at 0, 0 the canvas and go the entire target height and target width of the canvas. So now after we have done this, outside of our if context, we're going to say const cropped image is going to be equal to canvas dot to data URL. And then here there's going to be an image slash JPEG. You guys can try to make it work with a PNG, but whenever I was playing around with this, whenever I was trying to use a PNG, it just straight up didn't work. Versus whenever I did it this way, it did work. So it's fun. I don't know. We're going to go ahead and dispatch and then update image. And then we're going to go ahead and pass in that cropped image like so. And make sure I spelled everything properly. And what we might want to go ahead and do and maybe update image. No, it is a thing. It's just an import. Now, what we might want to go ahead and do really quickly is just console.log the cropped image to make sure it's working before I spend too much time. And I'm going to go ahead and comment this out as well. Just comment this out. And then now whenever we handle apply clicked, we want to go ahead and call this generate, and this is called edited image. Go ahead and call that function. So now whenever we apply, we'll generate that function. So now here's the part that's really scary. Did we do everything properly? And is it going to actually crop the image properly and show the entire image that we want to see? So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's go ahead and hop into the front end, give it a refresh, and then see if we're getting an image back like we want. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh here. I'm also going to go ahead and open up our inspect window so we can see the console. Let's go ahead and edit profile. I'm going to blur my screen really quick, and I'm just going to go ahead and use this guy. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here, maybe just like zoom into the U of unknown, and then I'm going to go ahead and go back to our console and click apply. So you can see we have an image here that doesn't inspire very much confidence, but it did in fact work. It's just really small. So now you can see that it zoomed in, and this should be about 120 by 120. Again, if you guys want to scale this differently, you can, but that's a good sign that showed that it worked. We moved it and everything like that. So I'm pretty confident that we copied everything down properly. So let's hop back into the code and get it so we can send it to the backend and we can see the updates on our screen. So now we need to go ahead and update our edit media modal to actually determine how we want to, or what we want to do with this. Let's also go ahead and uncomment that. So let's hop into the edit media modal. Now inside of our edit media modal, we need to go ahead and bring in a few things, and it's going to be more complicated than our normal modals, but it is what it is. We have a const image. We're going to have a target. We're going to have our editing state equal to use selector, and this is going to be state root state like so, and then we'll go ahead and say state.edit media, and that's good to go. And then we also want to go ahead and const dispatch, and here we'll go ahead and have our app dispatch equal to use dispatch. Now that that's set up, we need to go ahead and do our update corresponding image. So let's go ahead and say function and update corresponding image location. So this is how we're going to determine what we're doing with said image based on the target. So we're going to go ahead and switch on target. Target, and in here we're gonna have a case for edit underscore profile picture, and this is just gonna go ahead and break for a second while we set all these up. So break, we're gonna have a case for edit banner picture, and again we're just gonna go ahead and break, and then we'll have a default case which isn't gonna do anything at the moment. We should never run it to the default case, but it'll just go ahead and break. Cool. So now let's go ahead and update this. In this case, we're going to go ahead and dispatch. We're going to go ahead and dispatch update edit profile. And inside of our update edit profile, we're going to have a property. And this is going to go ahead and be profile picture. And the value will be the image that we just saved. And let's go ahead and prettify this a little bit. This looks horrible. There we go. And then we'll also go ahead and dispatch, and this is going to go ahead and dispatch update display edit profile, display baby edit profile, and then that'll be fine. And then for a banner picture, we're also going to go ahead and dispatch the same thing. So dispatch update edit profile, go ahead and set up our stuff here. And here we'll go ahead and have our property is going to be equal to banner picture. So we want to update our banner picture. The value once again be image, and then we'll also go ahead and dispatch this guy again. So dispatch update display edit profile, go and call that. And then at the bottom of this, we want to go ahead and close out. We can go ahead and dispatch and reset state from our edit media modal, and that's good to go. So if we are editing a profile picture, we'll go ahead and update the profile picture. If we're updating a banner picture, we'll go and update that banner picture. Now we need to go ahead and have a use effect to watch for our editing state. So let's say use effect, and here we'll go ahead and watch our editing state. If I could actually do this properly, editing state like so, and then let's go and bring in use effect. And inside of here, we'll go ahead and say if our editing state is equal to done. So if we are completely done editing, oh my goodness, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and update the corresponding image location like so. So we'll go ahead and watch while we are editing. Once we're done editing, we'll go and update that corresponding image location. So now what we need to go ahead and do is, I guess we could technically test this. It just won't go to the back end yet, and maybe it'd be valuable to try it out. So let's go ahead and hop into the front end and give it a refresh and just test it one more time. We're hopping onto the back end and being able to send this data. This episode's going to be another long one. The way that I had worked it out, it wasn't going to work to split it up any shorter. So just bear with me here. So let's go ahead and give this guy a refresh. I'm going to blur my screen for a sec. So now let's go ahead and take this nice image of myself. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit and click apply. And I guess that didn't quite work. I'm wondering what happened there. It should not have closed, or it should have opened up our other thing. So I might need to look into Redux really quickly. It created the image like it was supposed to, and it cleared the state obviously because it closed out of everything. Let me open up Redux really quick and let me just quickly look at this. So we have our update edit profile. Okay, so we never actually called our update display. So I messed something up inside of there. Let's take a look. It's because we never actually called this. Okay, let's try again. Let's give it a refresh and we'll go into console, edit profile. I'll blur my screen for a sec. Once again, we have this old photo of myself. Click apply. There we go. Now we need to actually go ahead and click save here and send it to the backend. But to do that, we need to update the backend. So let's hop in there and get that working. In Java, we're going to go ahead and start out in our update profile request. We need to add in two things. So let's go ahead and add in our private string. And this is going to be our profile picture. Maybe picture. We also need to add in a private string and banner picture like so. Let's go ahead and add this to our all args constructor. So we're going to come over here. We'll go ahead and say string and profile. If I could type picture and string banner picture, and then we'll go ahead and say that this dot profile picture is equal to our profile picture, and this dot banner picture is equal to banner if I could type picture. I must have spelled something wrong because it does not like trying to do banner picture. Okay, it's fine. Let's go ahead and regenerate our getter setters to string, all that stuff. To delete that, space CA, go ahead and generate getters and setters. Space CA, go ahead and generate a toString. We'll go ahead and include everything in here. So all the way down to 7, and we're good to go. This is our updated update profile request object. Now we need to go ahead and go into our image service and be able to take in a base64 image and store it to the backend. So let's hop in there. So in our image service, let's just go ahead and go underneath upload image. And we're going to go ahead and say public image, and this is going to go ahead and be upload image from base 64, and this might end up being what we start using for everything, but we'll see. String data and string prefix once again, and this throws an unable to save photo exception, and this is gonna be mad at us for a second, but it's fine. We're gonna set up a try catch really quick. So try and catch an IO exception, and here we'll go ahead and throw a new unable to save photo exception, and then inside of our try catch we'll go ahead and say string extension is going to be equal to, I don't think I spelled extension right, extension. This is going to be equal to our period plus data dot split. We're going to go ahead and we're going to split this on image slash, and then 1 is a little bit complicated, but then we're going to go ahead and split it again. Because of the way that base 64 is set up, we need to go ahead and split it again and do this and then say 0. So that'll go ahead and get our file extension. We're going to go ahead and say string base 64 image is going to be equal to data dot split. Now we're going to get just our data for the image. This is going to go ahead and split by comma, and this is going to be 1. So now we have only the image string and we have our extension. We're going to go ahead and say byte array, and this is going to be image bytes. It's going to be equal to, and this is going to be fun because this one did not want to be brought in. So data type, and I think it's Java XML.bind, I believe, .parse, and this is going to be base 64 binary. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the base 64 image like so, and then here we're going to have a buffered image. Again, this one did not want to be brought in either. We're going to have parsed image is equal to image, IO dot, and this is going to be read and a new byte. And then this is going to be array, and by array, and this one is input stream. And then this is going to go ahead and take in our image bytes. Okay, and this buffered image comes in from like a weird place. I might have to double check where this comes in from. Let me double check the code on GitHub where this comes in from. So this is going to come in from Java AWT. I'm going to go ahead and copy this really quick and paste it at the top. It doesn't like to bring this guy in for whatever reason. So let me paste it in and save, and it should be fine now. It wanted to come in from Java AWT.image, and now it is fine, but it's not returning anything. That's why it's mad. So now below our buffered image, we're going to go ahead and say file img is equal to file dot create temp file like we did before. While we'll prefix, we'll have our extension, and then we'll have our directory where we want to save it. I have image io dot write, and we're going to go ahead and write our image. So we're going to go ahead and write in our parsed image. We're going to go ahead and put in JPEG here. This is supposed to be like extension, but extension was being dumb, so I just hard coded it. We might need to come back through and change this in a different episode, but for now I'm going to roll with what works. I have our string image, URL. URL is equal to URL, maybe, and then plus image dot get name, or img, dot get. If I could type, that'd be cool. img.getName. We're going to go ahead and have image I is equal to new image. And here we're going to say img.getName. We're going to go ahead and say, this is going to be image slash and then plus extension. We probably could have gotten this straight from the other thing, but it is what it is. img.getPath. And then finally, we'll have our image URL. So we're going to go ahead and create that new image. We're going to say image saved is equal to image repository dot save. Go ahead and save that image. Then we can go ahead and return the saved. So hopefully I didn't miss any steps. So I spelled extension wrong here and here. Let's go ahead and fix that. This is also a point where things could really go wrong and break. So hopefully I did everything right. And we're getting far enough into the episode that if something is broken from our image service, I just go ahead and copy paste it to make things work. Now let's go ahead and hop into user service to update the update user profile. Let's go ahead and scroll down. So wherever our update user profile is, here we go. So now we're going to go ahead and check the body for our profile picture. So if our profile, and then we actually say body.get profile picture is not equal to null. Not equal to null. If that's the case, we're going to go ahead and say image PFP is equal to image service dot upload image from base64 body dot get, and this is going to be profile picture, and then our prefix will be profile picture, so PFP, and then we're going to go ahead and say user dot set profile picture, and this is going to be our PFP that we just created. We do the same thing. If our body dot get, and this one's going to be banner picture not equal to null, so we have a banner picture, and say image and a banner is equal to image service dot update image from here body dot get banner picture, and this one is going to be BNR for banner, BNR, and then here we're going to say user dot set banner picture to R and then banner like that. And then now this is mad. Why are you mad? It's because we need to go ahead and throw an exception here. So let's go ahead and say up here, this throws an unable to save photo exception, and that should be fine. And now we need to update our user controller, do that as well. So let's hop in there. Once again, this is gonna be mad because it doesn't throw this function. So here, let's go ahead and throw this in here. So here we'll say throws unable to save photo exception, like so. Let's go ahead and save this guy, make sure it's saved. Let's go ahead and restart our application just in case it hasn't restarted. And then I need to double check to make sure that I actually call everything. I think I should be calling everything because yeah, whenever I click save, it should send it. So now in theory, everything should be set up and ready to go. So let's hop into our front end, give it a refresh, cross our fingers, knock on wood, cross our toes that everything gets uploaded properly. Once again, let's refresh. Let's go ahead and edit profile. I'll blur my screen for a sec to grab a profile picture. I'm just going to go ahead and grab my unknown coder. I'll zoom in a little bit just to test. Let's also go ahead and grab this guy. I'll blur again. We'll go ahead and go in and I'll grab my old Twitch header, and that's fine. Go ahead and apply. So now hopefully whenever we click save, let's also go ahead and save this guy. And now hopefully if we click save, we'll be able to see the changes. Now you can see we have these guys, and if we wanted to, we could scale this up a little bit. You see it's a little bit blurry because we zoomed it in a little bit. If you wanted to play around with the height and width and everything, you can, but I think that's gonna go ahead and do it. Whenever we get into the next episode, I still need to work on it. We're gonna go ahead and start being able to go into our home, go into like post, grab an image. Maybe I haven't set that up. Click on this, I'll blur again. But we want to be able to click this guy, and I don't know where our edit went. I might have screwed up and broke this, but this used to have, there we go, we have a crop media, so this needs to be updated as well. We need to add a few things, and we're going to go ahead and reuse our modal, or we might just throw the image editor in here. I don't know, but this needs to be updated as well. So we're going to go ahead and start working on that in the next episode. So that being said, y'all, hope you have a great day. This has been Ethan Encoder. And if you do want to see where we start from absolute scratch, there's going to be a playlist in the card coming right up along the sides. It's flipped. But anyway, y'all, like I was saying, hope you have a great day. This has been Ethan Encoder. I'll see you all in the next video.